brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies. That matters to God.
Yes, it does.
When you present your bodies to God, that matters to God. A living sacrifice that He can use.
Yes.
God has a purpose and a plan for each of us. God wants to use us. All God wants is your body. He wants a living sacrifice. He wants a willing vessel. He wants us to be holy.
Yes.
He doesn't require us to shout. He doesn't require us to dance. But He requires us to be holy. God requires us to be holy.
That's right.
He wants it has to be acceptable unto God. And then after we do all that, it's just our reasonable service. So our yes to God matters. A lot of stuff, and when I was thinking about this, a lot of times we say yes to a lot of stuff that we don't have to say yes. But then we don't say yes to the things that we need to say yes to. We choose and we pick. And I was thinking about this as I was preparing for this, and I was thinking about how that, a lot of times we don't say yes to the things of God in churches because we're so used to things. We're so used to. My mind went back to the book of Esther. And Esther is a wonderful story, and many of us have heard that all our lives about how Esther, went before the king for the people of God. But there's an important character or a person in that book of Esther that was very important if you look at what she did. Not only Esther, we know about Esther because they talk about it, but if you go on Esther chapter 1, the first book, it talks about a person by the name of Vashti. And this was a woman, and she was a queen, and she was very beautiful. She was queen, and she made a decision one day that not only changed her life, but it changed situations for everybody else. And she decided, see, there's something about when the king calls you. Look at your neighbor and say, something about when the king calls you. Now, many of us, we want to be called by a lot of different people. I mean, all of us have a story. And can you imagine if Oprah calls and say they want to tell our story? Boy, we'd be raring. It'll be a Hickory Avenue announcement. I'm going on the Oprah show. They want to hear my story. We'll answer that call. Or if somebody, athlete will call us and, call Elder Williams, I'm going to mess with him and tell them they need him on the basketball team. Look out, Hickory. And she said Midway will be represented. We'll go to that. But then when God calls us, we like, when they call all the people, we're going in prayer this week, everybody, well, I'm not going out there this week. We make, the thing I'm trying to say is we say yes to a lot of stuff that don't even matter. We'll be glad to fly to Oprah's show. We'll be glad to play basketball for somebody. We'll be glad to do this. But when the things of God, and that's what Vashti happened. If you go read the whole story, I don't have time to go into it. They were like in 6 months of celebration. Okay, you got the lead up to why she said no. And they had all these parties and celebrations, and they were showing the kingdom out. The king was showing the kingdom out for 6 months. They were doing this. So now she's a queen, so she had to be in place as a queen for 6 months. And Sister Stafford know how that is to be a queen and all that.
It's trouble.
You can't let your hair down. You got to be looking like a queen at all times. For 6 months, they entertained people from all over. She had to be just right. She had to be made up. And then at the end of the 6 months, then the king decided to have another week-long party at their house. And everybody was invited. Look at somebody and say, everybody. Everybody was invited, so she still had to be that queen. And then on top of that, she had her own private party going on. So the king got happy and he said, I want my beautiful wife to come and I want to show off. And by that time, she was just over it. She had had enough of it. She had got familiar. She got used to being presented as his beautiful wife and doing all this. So she just said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And that's what happens sometimes with us Christians. I want you to get the point that God is trying to make. We cannot get weary in well-doing. We got to keep on. We can't decide. I don't care How many times you've had to come to family training hour? I don't care how many times you've had to come to prayer service. We got to keep on. Time is getting short. You're saying yes to a lot of things that don't matter. And she was to a point where she was just wore out, tired. But when you're in position, it costs. Oh, now, that wasn't on the paper.
It's a cost.
How many people have
It's a cost. Come on.
When you're in position, it costs.
Yes.
And you need to be in your place.
Yes.
And that's what she decided she wasn't going to do it. And the story goes on that because she refused and things happened, of course the king got mad. And when I was doing that, at first I looked at it in the natural about the king, how mad he got. And he not only got upset because of the people that were there, but then he talked to somebody else. See, you know, he talked to some other guys, and they told him, this is the 2013 version of